just ahead on CTV News.
We've got dozens of people from around the county taking advantage of the last day of early voting. And we talked to one very special Prince Georgian who cast her vote today. I've got the story coming up on CTV News.
It's close to midnight and something evil's lurking in the dark. Stick with me, Noel James, for a thriller safety guide coming up on CTV News.
WSSC water is turning poop to power. I'm Bryce Parker. We'll have more details coming up on how far your number 2 can go coming up on CTV News.
Those stories and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening. This is CTV News for October 31st. I'm Michaela Newton. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, less than a week away from the general election, thousands of Marylanders have already cast a ballot. Mariah Jalad was at the polls for the last day of early voting and to see a special county resident make her vote heard.
If you're hoping to beat the crowds on Election Day, today's your last chance to join more than 800,000 Marylanders and vote early. Today, one of Prince George's longest living residents exercised her civic duty.
I voted sticker. You want to hold this for me?
Our family, growing up in Prince George's County, has always set the pathways for the younger generation for us to vote, to get involved, and do the right thing. So it was very important when my aunt was getting up in age for me to reach out and help her.
104-year-old Pauline Patton didn't let her age stand in the way of casting her ballot today. With the help of her great-nephew, Pauline joined more than 100,000 Prince Georgians and cast an early vote. Pauline has always been passionate about voting, but this election carries special meaning.
Number one, we voted for a woman and a woman of color. And my aunt has seen the generations of the voting rights, blacks to vote, and now she's had the opportunity to make a difference. I think she's in her heart is very proud. She can't say it probably right now, but in her heart, I think she's smiling and said, I made a difference.
About 20% of eligible Maryland voters have already cast a ballot. For those yet to do so, Dwayne Brown hopes his aunt's actions change that.
2 words, go vote. That's all I can say. 2 words, go vote. If I could do it for my aunt, you can get up and do it yourself.
As of Wednesday, the state is just 20,000 votes away from the 2020 early voting total. We'll have that total number of early votes for you tomorrow. From the Sports and Learning Complex, I'm Mariah Jalad for CTV News.
All right, Mariah, thanks so much. And of course, if you didn't make it out to vote early, your next and last chance to vote will be Election Day, November 5th. And Montgomery County voters face a big decision as they cast their ballots with Question A, which would limit the county executive to 2 terms down from the current 3. And the proposal, led by Republican Reardon Sullivan, has bipartisan support, even as current county executive Mark Elrich opposes it. Now, supporters say it's about good governance and new ideas, while opponents, including former executives Doug Duncan and Ike Leggett, argue that more time is needed to see projects through. Now, if passed, this change could redefine Montgomery County's leadership. Meanwhile, former Governor Larry Hogan has held firm that he would not solicit or accept a Donald Trump endorsement for his campaign for U.S. Senate. But in a private donor call obtained by CNN, Hogan touts his Trump endorsement, suggesting it helps win over hardcore Trump supporters in Maryland. Now, Hogan's comments came after the donor asked if there was hatred between him and Trump. Hogan then interrupted the donor, saying, quote, Trump actually endorsed me, and further went on to say that Trump supporters' alternative is a, quote, far-left Democrat who's against everything they believe in. And in a potential return to office, former President Donald Trump is proposing a mass deportation plan that could significantly impact Maryland, according to reports. Now, with nearly 17% of the state's population foreign-born and around 225,000 individuals living here without authorization, such a move could disrupt the local economy. Additionally, nearly 250,000 residents are authorized but not yet naturalized, including DACA recipients and seasonal workers. And Attorney General Anthony Brown has joined a coalition of 20 attorneys general to support the Keeping Families Together program in the case of Texas versus DHS. Now, this federal initiative allows certain undocumented spouses and stepchildren of U.S. citizens to apply for permanent residency without leaving the country. Now, the coalition's amicus brief filed in a Texas court argues that protecting family unity is a key principle of U.S. immigration policy, and the program announced by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security in August aims to streamline the residency application process for eligible families. And it's Halloween, 'tis the season for the frights. Our reporter Noel James gives us a front row seat to all the chills and thrills.
Calling all monsters, ghouls, and goblins, 'tis the night to come alive. Halloween is making its spooky return, but safety is top of mind for Maryland residents as day turns into night. This year, trick-or-treating season has come back with a bang. From the creative costumes and the impressive displays to the trick-or-treat that you'll hear all night. Residents are looking forward to a night of fun and festivities, but of most importance is how to stay safe while having fun. We caught up with Prince George's Police Department's Public Information Officer, Corporal Unique Jones, to give us some tips and tricks to enjoy the chills and the thrills.
For those with younger kids, we would advise to, go out earlier in the evening. The sun starts setting probably around like 6 p.m. today, so get out there soon, early, so that way, they can be out back in the house before it gets super, super dark. Also for, parents to check their kids' candy, so when you get in the house, I have my kids, dump their candy out on the floor, and we play like a little game to have them organize it and just double check their candy.
And for the older trick-or-treaters having Halloween parties,
do not drink and drive. If you're going to a party and you're going to be drinking, either have a designated driver or, of course, use a rideshare.
Additionally, some other tips you can follow are stay in groups. There's always safety in numbers. Always have your phone and chargers on you, and only visit houses with their lights on. That way the monsters don't get you. From Clinton, this is Noel James, CTV News.
All good tips to remember, Noel. Thanks so much. Well, President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden brought Halloween magic to the White House last night, hosting thousands of trick-or-treaters for a Halloween celebration on the South Lawn. Now, dressed as a giant panda, the First Lady made a nod to the National Zoo's recently arrived pandas, while the president handed out White House Hershey's Kisses along with treats, and Dr. Biden handed out books hoping to inspire young readers. But with a festive backdrop, it was a memorable last Halloween in office for the Bidens. And the UMBC Institute of Politics released a Halloween poll just in time for the holiday festivities. They found that 77% of Marylanders plan to give out candy or treats to trick-or-treaters, and 29% of Marylanders said you are never too old to be a trick-or-treater. The poll is a step away from the usual serious topics the Institute likes to tackle and gives people a chance to have fun in the midst of an intense election cycle. And tonight's Halloween sky has more than ghosts and goblins. Scientists say a stellar explosion 3,000 light years away could soon revive a dead star. Although the explosion isn't visible just yet, astronomers predict it will one day burst forth, creating an eerie glow, and we might even catch it from Earth.
As it sounds. So basically with zombie stars, they come about really from a star like our own sun. So our sun will evolve over time and it will die, but it will leave behind a remnant of something called a white dwarf. And that is, no longer a normal living star like our sun. So we call it a dead star or a zombie star. It was last observed so long ago, the explosion in 1946. We now have access to spacecraft, telescopes, observatories in space that are able to study this system like never before with gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet radiation, all of these wavelengths of light that will help us study the explosion and the explosive material, what is coming out of it. In unprecedented detail.
So while you're out trick-or-treating, look up for a reminder of the cosmos mysteries. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Michaela Newton. Still to come, a county council member recognizes Dr. Douglas E. Edwards and the work he's done in the community. We'll tell you how after the break.
Join the CTV News team for live election coverage. With real-time updates, expert analysis, and exclusive insights from across the county. CTV News, bringing you complete coverage of the races that matter to you. Tune in to CTV News, special election night coverage. Live coverage begins at 8 p.m. CTV News, election results you can trust.
Welcome back. 2 teenagers have been indicted and charged as adults for a string of armed carjackings in the county. A 16-year-old male from Upper Marlboro was indicted on 43 charges. A 17-year-old male from Lanham was indicted on 31 charges. Now, all the crimes happened in the areas of Bowie and Upper Marlboro between June 4th and July 9th. Luckily, all the carjacked vehicles have been recovered, but anyone with information on these cases is asked to call 301-516-3788. And authorities in Prince George's County have identified 4 suspects involved in a scam that targeted an elderly woman last week. This pigeon drop scam lured the victim into giving nearly $40,000 away after convincing her they had found a bag of money and suggesting she donated instead to charity of reporting it. The suspects, 77-year-old James Davis, 64-year-old Connie Williams, 59-year-old Mary Daniel, and 36-year-old Kenneth Gooden, all from Alabama and Tennessee, were arrested at a shopping center in Clinton. Now, if you think you might be a victim of a similar scam, police are urging you to report it by calling 301-516-1464. And law enforcement break up 6 illegal car rallies in Prince George's and Anne Arundel counties over the weekend. The Maryland Car Rally Task Force say more than 350 people were found at parking lots trying to shut down intersections last Saturday evening and early Sunday morning. Here in Prince George's, police broke up car rallies on Indian Creek Court in Beltsville, Nicole Drive in Lanham, Columbia Park Road in Hyattsville, and Craftsman Circle in Hyattsville. Now, officers ultimately arrested Shakari Prue and Anthony Sandoval. A stolen Chevrolet Corvette was also recovered at one of the rallies. And a $271 million project has now come to life in Accokeek, and the project's vision creates energy with objects that you would rather not see again. CTV's Bryce Parker has more.
And let me tell you, this innovative facility will help WSSC Water and our 1.9 million customers thrive by delivering, once again, green energy, green jobs, and a greener future.
Here at the grand opening of the Piscataway Bioenergy Facility in Accokeek, workers, congressmen, and neighbors gathered to celebrate a renewed vision for waste.
It's at these facilities where we like to say, your number 2 is our number 1.
That's why this event is so very important. Not only does it take a product that was waste product, that was causing us a problem, it turns that problem into an asset.
They call it poop to power, transforming the waste we flush down the toilet into green energy that can be repurposed for things like bus fuel for public transit and material that can be sold for everyday environmental improvements, saving money while also generating revenue for the state.
Traditionally, we viewed things that help the economy, environmental positive aspects, as a negative from a cost standpoint. Today, I think we're demonstrating that you can have your cake and eat it too.
So it's a win-win-win for everyone. It's cutting costs on what we pay to get rid of historically, and it brings in additional revenue opportunities that we didn't have before. You mentioned credits, green energy credits, renewable natural energy, as well as a Class A biosolids product where we can put on the marketplace.
Now that the ribbons are officially cut and this facility is open, there's now a poop to power pipeline that goes from your toilet to transportation. Reporting from Accokeek, I'm Bryce Parker, CTV News.
All right, Bryce, thanks so much. Well, attendees of the grand opening got the chance to tour the facility, and in partnership with Montgomery County, energy produced at the facility will be used to power their ride on the bus. And in a heartfelt celebration, Prince George's County Council member Crystal Oriata is honoring Dr. Douglas E. Edwards with a special street signing naming ceremony. The event recognized Dr. Edwards' tireless work and dedication to the District 7 community that has spanned over 30 years.
1, 2, 3. Ooh, let's get it. Oh, did I do it right? Okay, we're coming. Woo!
I don't know how and where to start in terms of thanking those, but I guess I would have to start with my wife because she has been beside me now for over 53 years and through it all. So thank you, sweetheart.
And the ceremony isn't just about a street sign. It's a tribute to Dr. Edwards' achievements and the lasting impact he has made in the community. And so to come on CTV News, a county board member joins us here in the studio to talk about his upcoming parent workshops. We'll have more details right after the break.
An official message from Medicare.
Medicare plans change from one year to the next. And this year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare health plans. Compare drug coverage. Compare costs. See if you can save. And make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Compare plans now at Medicare.gov.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
You can just keep watching and scrolling, and the world will still feel like it's falling apart.
Widespread missile attack. Highest hospitalization. Also evacuation in the west. Performing forced labor.
Or you can take action by joining a movement that's creating a real and lasting change instead. Partnering with communities around the globe to help uproot poverty and plant seeds of hope for a brighter tomorrow. Because at World Vision, we believe that no situation is hopeless. Join a movement that's changing the world for good.
Welcome back. We've all heard of the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, but if you would like to know how to create and sustain a strong family culture in turbulent times, then you might want to take part in the upcoming Parent Workshop Series, 7 Habits of Highly Effective Families, this Saturday at Largo High School. And joining us in the studio today to talk about the workshop is District 6 Board of Education member Brandon Jackson. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so tell us what made you want to come up with this type of parent workshop?
Thank you. So first I want to say thank you for sharing your platform with me to talk about this workshop a little bit. So we usually have chat and choose every first Saturday of the month for District 6 in general, but this one specifically, we're having it at Largo High School. And the reason why we needed to do this one about the families is because Prince George's County is one of the biggest school systems in the entire country. We're in the top 20 biggest school systems. We have like over 130,000 kids. And with that being said, a lot of times our families come from different backgrounds, different socioeconomic backgrounds, different languages, different nationalities, ethnicities, wisdom traditions, and so on and so forth. But with that being said, we want to make sure that every family has the opportunity to receive the tools needed to family plan. So that's the reason why we wanted to add this workshop.
Absolutely. And when you talk about like turbulent times, do you mean financially, or what are some of those examples of turbulent times?
Turbulent times. Well, what I'm saying is that I guess a lot of families don't have access to the pockets of information. A lot of times when we talk about family planning, we usually think about like the conception of a child, but what do you do after the child is born? Mm-hmm. And that is what we want to focus on. Like, how do we create the infrastructure around the child or the family in general to achieve a level of self-actualization? So that's where we are with this workshop.
Absolutely. And tell me about some of the themes that you guys will be touching on when it comes to that parent workshop.
Yeah, so definitely. There's a lot talking about intentionality, starting with a winning mindset, and so on and so forth. So we've actually worked with Stephen Covey, who made the 7 Habits of a Highly Effective Human. So they've gave us some resources, a planner, some books. So we have some consultants that come in. I'm not the expert myself on all the different habits, but they're going to come in and kind of shed some light and illuminate what it takes to be an effective family.
And I feel like a lot of the times there might be a disconnect between parents and teachers. So do you think that that will be something in terms of communication that parents will be able to learn when it comes to that workshop?
Yeah. Sometimes I think when you hear education in general, most people think about the tangible things of education, like the reading, writing, and arithmetic. I usually boil that down to academia, but education is so much more broader than that. Like, it includes like the experiential learning, social and emotional components to it. And so when parents sometimes drop their kids off to school, they expect the school program or enterprise to kind of give them all of the different things you need to be educated properly. And I think this is an opportunity to really understand what the school system is doing and how you as a parent can create that infrastructure around your child in order to help them reach that level of self-actualization. So this workshop is more so all-inclusive to get that great, rich educational experience.
And my next question was going to be, how do you think that strong parenting will lead to success in children in education?
Well, I think strong parenting is really key. Typically, what I find in the highest performing schools in my district and also PGCPS wide is that they usually have a strong PTO or PTA. Having a parent or a guardian have an active role in your student life, I think that's an invaluable thing, because you can't rely on anyone else. Like, I'm a father, I'm a husband myself, and I can't rely on someone else to make sure that my child is getting what they need. So it is important, like it is necessary, it is critical for the parent to be involved in the process. And so that's why we want to talk about how do we set up the perfect infrastructure. Like, what are the routines? What classes are your student taking? So like, when you look at your child and you do an inventory of assets, what are they good at? What are they not good at? How do we help develop that? Like, what curricular activities can help bring out those great things, bring those things into fruition or materialize what skills that you see that are innate inside of them? And so we want to talk about a lot of those things in the workshop.
Absolutely. Last thing, how can people register, and is it free for parents?
Yes, it's free for parents. All things are free that we do in District 6. Also, I wanted to say it's open to all the districts, and also we'll be giving out, books, pamphlets. We'll be feeding everybody. We have lunches provided by a small Black-owned business, in a Minute Cafe. They'll be providing lunch, and we're hosting it at Largo. So you register. You register it's available on the PGCPS website. If you look at the PGCPS social media, also Action BD Jackson, I have it on my Instagram and different social media platforms as well.
Perfect. Thanks so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
I really appreciate you.
And again, the parent workshops are being held on November 2nd and December 7th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Largo High School. And still to come, Simon Buggs is taking us into the world of volleyball for our Thursday sports page. Stay tuned.
It's traumatizing when you have a sick child. Then you are tired, very, very tired. The doctors told us, you are a part of the medical team. You need to sleep, eat, drink, shower, because when you are healthy, you can take care of your child. The Ronald McDonald House is next to the hospital. They have a washing machine, kitchen, beds were very good, but it's also being with parents of other children that are sick. So you can talk and you can cry and maybe you can laugh, but it's very important for healing yourself. The house understood what our needs were. There was someone that gave you a hug, a cup of tea, and that's very important, just to have someone who is taking care of you a little bit.
What up, sports fans? Are you ready? Because it's time for today's sports page. Now, if you're itching for some volleyball action, you're going to love this first story. Bulldog Nation packed the gym at Bowie High School last night as the fans watched the school's volleyball team take the court against North Point for a playoff matchup. Now in the first set, points coming from this ace by North Point's Kennedy Robertson and this spike from Bowie's Andrew Fassard kept the game close early on. But as the set went on, North Point began to pull away as a spike from Robertson and another ace, this time from Elizabeth Strangers, helped the Lady Eagles be up 18-11 at one point. And the deficit was too much for Bowie to overcome as North Set got the dub in the first set, 25-18. It looked like the Lady Bulldogs might go down 0-2 in the second set as North Point was able to build another lead. But Bowie wasn't going out like that as the Lady Bulldogs slowly got back into the game as this assist from Kennedy Thomas to set up the kill shot for Jada Joyner, as well as this ace from Thomas helped Bowie tie the set at 9-all. The set remained close through the end, but Bowie was able to come out on top. Come out on top and win the second set to tie the game at 1 apiece. Moving on to a pivotal third set, there was more back and forth action as no team held a lead for very long. But Bowie began to go on a run as offensive mistakes by North Point, as well as attack block from Joyner helped Bowie go from being down 15-13 to up 22-16. And Bowie was able to hold on to that lead and win the third set 25-18 and have a 2-1 set lead over North Point. And Bowie won one more set and won the game overall 3-1 to advance to the next round of the playoffs. Congratulations, ladies. Bowie will face off against Leonardtown next tomorrow. Should be a great game. Meantime, the Baltimore Ravens made headlines this week as they traded for wide receiver Deontay Johnson. Johnson will be making a return to the AFC North as a 28-year-old suited up for the Pittsburgh Steelers from 2019 to 2023. And he touched on what it feels like to be back in such a competitive division.
It still don't seem real to me, but you know, like I say, it's a blessing for me just to, you know, get another opportunity to come back to the AFC North. So that's one thing that stuck out to me, you know, just to be a part of this great organization. I know what this organization is about. I played against them, you know, a few years. So, like I said, just to be on this side, like I said, it's a blessing to me.
Johnson and the rest of the team will match up next against the Denver Broncos on Sunday. In college hoops news, the Terps women's basketball squad has some new faces on the team this season, including Maryland native Sailor Poffenbarger. Poffenbarger will be looked at to have a very impactful season in College Park as she was recently named to the Cheryl Miller Award watch list. This award is given to the nation's top small forward, and that should be no surprise to fans as at Arkansas last season, she averaged 10 points and 11 boards for the Razorbacks. She also racked up 9 double-doubles on the year and was an absolute monster on the boards as she set the school's record for defensive rebounds in the season with 225 last year as well. Poffenbarger and the rest of the Lady Terps will take the court for their first game of the season against UMBC on November 4th. And the Los Angeles Dodgers added another World Series title to their collection last night. They defeated the New York Yankees in a Game 5 comeback, winning it 7-6. This is the Dodgers' 8th World Series title in franchise history and its first since 2020. Congratulations, fellas. And wrapping up sports, the Washington Wizards sent their fans home happy last night as they took down the Atlanta Hawks in a high-scoring game, 133-120. The next one will be Bam Adebayo and the Miami Heat on Saturday.
All right, Simon, thanks so much. And let's get a quick look at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight on Halloween, trick-or-treaters might want to bring an umbrella with their candy bag. We have a low of 66 and a slight chance of showers. Tomorrow, the rain will continue to pour with a high of 76, but this weekend, nice and sunny skies. Saturday with a high of 62 and Sunday with a high of 64. And now for our community calendar. If you don't have any Halloween plans tonight, join the Brentwood community for a haunted bingo bash. Participants are asked to come in their scariest costume and compete for the title of bingo champion. The event will include drinks and games and up to $100 in prizes. The bash will be held at the Mix Tea Food Hall from 7 to 9 p.m. But for more information, you can call 301-580-8622. And that wraps up CTV News for now. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a safe and happy Halloween.
We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Enjoy that candy and stay safe tonight.